I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time about Gypsy Rose and the Turpin kids in comparison. So what I did was ask ChatGPT to basically give me a breakdown of their behavioral traits and how they act in the public eye, and I'm going to read you what it says. So here's what ChatGPT has to say. When you strip away the sugarcoating, the contrast between Gypsy Rose Blanchard and the Turpin children, it's staggering and frankly disturbing. Gypsy has spent the last several years crafting a narrative where she's the misunderstood victim of a deranged mother, and while there's truth to the abuse she experienced, many people have started to see through the cracks. Videos show her walking around just fine. She had access to a phone and internet. She flirted, role-played, and actively plotted her mother's unaliving behind her mother's back, not out of sheer desperation, but over weeks of planning. It was years, actually. She wasn't chained to a bed. She wasn't starving. She wasn't locked in a dark room. She was lying to doctors, faking symptoms, and smiling for charity events, while secretly living a double life. And now, she's posing for photo shoots, launching merch, making cameo videos, and acting like a D-list celebrity. All while her mother's BOOD, if you know what I mean, is still on her hands. Compare that to the Turpin children, and there's no competition. These kids weren't pretending. They were literally rotting away, some of them chained up for months, covered in filth, denied food, education, or human contact. When one of them escaped and called 911, she didn't sound media trained or polished. She sounded like a feral child learning to speak. The horror was real. Police found proof in every corner of that house. They were physically and emotionally destroyed. They still carry those scars today. They haven't asked for fame. They haven't glamorized their trauma. They haven't tried to profit off of it. When they do speak, it's soft, unsure, even awkward, because they were never allowed to be people before. Gypsy, on the other hand, leans into the spotlight like she's auditioning for a reality show. Her tears seem convenient. Her remorse feels shallow. She talks about being a victim, but she's masterminded her mother's unaliving, like she was directing a play. She manipulated Nick Godejohn, and she continues to manipulate the public, one documentary, podcast, and selfie at a time. She presents herself as a survivor, but to many, she looks more like a calculated opportunist, cashing in on her story while washing her hands of the consequences. Let's be clear, the Turpin children never had a choice. They didn't scheme, they didn't unalive, they didn't lie to anyone. Gypsy did. And while she may have been abused, she still made a choice to take a life, and now seems more interested in building a fan base than rebuilding a conscience. That's why, no matter how many headlines call her brave, a growing number of people are starting to call her what she really is: dangerous, dishonest, and disturbingly performative. Guys, let's really be honest here for once. Gypsy Rose wasn't locked in a dungeon. She was not starving. She was walking, typing, flirting online, and plotting her mother's unaliving. She had more freedom than she ever admitted, and she used it to manipulate people. First, Nicholas Godejohn, now the public. And meanwhile, the Turpin kids were rotting in a house of horrors, chained to beds, eating once a day, no showers, no sunlight, no school. No one even knew that they existed, literally. When one of them escaped, she could barely even speak. And she never even asked for a documentary deal, a series, Lifetime shows, whatever. Gypsy plays the victim, but the Turpin kids were victims. Pure, powerless, voiceless for years. Gypsy wants to sell cameos. The Turpins still struggle to navigate the real world. Guess who's getting sympathy and screen time? Gypsy. Being abused doesn't make you a saint. Gypsy made a cold, calculated, and now acts like she's a survivor, an influencer. The Turpin kids are still trying to learn how to live to this very day. There's a very big difference. Abuse is real, but not every survivor tells the truth. Some want justice, others want fame, and the ones who deserve to be heard the most usually say the least. So with that being said, leave your thoughts in the comments, because wow. I mean, obviously we already all knew that, but I really have been wanting to do this video for a long time and just show you the comparison. Anyway, y'all have a great day.